Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Imran Khan.
Imran, about a couple of years back, the Pope and the King of Saudi Arabia met at the Vatican to iron out some differences between Christianity and Islam, and to see if to look at the commonalities instead of the differences. Do you have any views on that?
Well, I think that all religions have the same source. They lead to the same source. All religions basically talk about compassion and about justice, which is basically what differentiates from the animal kingdom, where it's the opposite, whereas might is right and survival of the fittest. We are human because we are compassionate. We care about the weak, and that's why we are human, and we are just. So we protect the weak. Now this is the big difference, and in my opinion, all the prophets sent by the Almighty on this earth delivered the same message. And basically the core message of all religions is the same. And so, we should respect each other's religions. There should not be a competition. It's, people should be each to his own. And I find this religious nationalism basically against the ethos of religion, of spirituality. And I find that, when one religion tries to condemn another religion or tries to say that one is superior to the other, I think that's where the problems begin.
A few people in the West have said that Muslims cannot make great Western citizens. What do you think about that, Imran?
The reason for 9/11 was political. The roots of why, the causes behind those fanatics and terrorism blowing up the Twin Towers was not because of religion. The causes, as Osama bin Laden in his interview to Robert Fisk states, that the three reasons why he hated the US was not because of Islam, but because of the US support for Israel, which is political, the US support for the Saudi monarchy, again political, and the US troops in Saudi Arabia, political, not religion. But this was made into an ideological war, a religious war, radical Islam. And when Bush and all his propaganda machine and Tony Blair started saying Islam is okay, but radical Islam is bad, how was the ordinary man in the street in the West, how was he supposed to tell the difference between a radical Muslim and a moderate Muslim? I mean, do we have it written on our foreheads? So all of us became potentially radical Muslims, and Islam became radical. And I think that that's where things started getting from bad to worse, and Islam became, and the Muslims became victimized. But in my opinion, there's no problem. Yes, Muslims are different. We have a different belief system. So what? You don't want a monoculture in this world. It's so boring. I mean, human beings have their own, Chinese have their own peculiar culture, Japanese, so on. Why not Muslims? And by the way, this was exactly the same thing not long ago said about the Jews. The Jews were ostracized because they were supposed to be somehow different, and their religion was different and practices different. But I find this very unhealthy, and I have to say, it's very difficult to as a Muslim, to have these assaults against our religion for no rhyme or reason. Because if Muslims do indulge in terrorism, it's not because of Islam. If the Jews or the Hindus or anyone else indulges in terrorism, don't blame their religion.
Obviously, everybody knows you're a politician in Pakistan. What are your worldviews as a world citizen? I mean, if you look at the world, nothing to do with Islam or Christianity, where do you want the world to be going?
Well, I think basically that there are two worldviews. One is the materialistic worldview. The other is the spiritual worldview. Now, the materialistic worldview is freedom for the self. You have only one life, so make hay while the sun shines. Doesn't matter that what happens to the other people. Make as much money as you want. The stronger countries can plunder the resources of the poorer countries, doesn't matter as long as my standard of living is good. And this is the destructive worldview. This is called death and destruction all over the world. The other is the spiritual worldview, which is being selfless, being caring, compassion, worrying about the weak, whether they are weak from your country or another country, or your religion or another religion, which is basically how to live as a human being on this earth. And unfortunately, and then there's, of course, gray areas, some are in between. But really, this is how I see the world being divided. And unfortunately, at the moment, the materialistic worldview is predominant.
You're also involved in humanitarianism. Could you tell us something about the work that you're doing?
Well, you know, I, as someone who has been privileged, who has had more than his share of, you know, love, affection, fame, privileged life, I always felt that I had a responsibility to my society. And so I tried my best. The Cancer Hospital is the biggest charitable institution in Pakistan. I've just set up a university of international standard in a very poor, in a backward area, with all students getting on scholarship so far. And I'm chancellor of an English university, Bradford University. So Bradford University is helping me with this. So people in this outbacks of Pakistan will get degrees of an international university, and underprivileged people. So I'm trying my best, and my politics is, I believe, the same. What I want Pakistan to be is a welfare state, a state with compassion and justice. Hence my movement for justice, social justice, economic justice, political justice, judicial justice. So yeah, that's my struggle right now.
Imran, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you have another TV interview and you've been fielding candidates in politics, and thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much.